Hello and welcome to this review of Seagram's Canadian Hunter. Okay, bought this at International Market in Metairie, Louisiana. What you'll see at most stores, well, pretty much every store, liquor store that will have it, and most do, is Canadian Hunter. Canadian whiskey with natural flavors. I bought this. I can't remember where I bought this at, Matherns or International Market. You'll find this at some stores for $8.99, $8.99. True story. It's got the bullet. The modern version has the bullet on it. Hunting theme. It's got the McAfee's benchmark old number 7 bottle design. Also, you notice Ancient Age is in the same bottle design. Which was kind of a knockoff Jack Daniel's bottle, and then around 4 years ago they went to the squared off corners, try to differentiate themselves from the knockoffs. So this was $8.99 also at International Market. Anyway, a few years ago, like 3 years ago, I was over there and I saw this bottle. Oh, we also did a review of Hunter Rye, 90 proof rye whiskey, but I only saw the little bottles, I think 100 milliliter bottles at Broadway Liquors in New Orleans, and never saw it again, so I don't really know where to get Hunter Rye, but I've heard good, well, we liked it, but I've heard good things about it from other people. Anyway, about 3 years ago I saw this mellow Canadian sipping whiskey, imported Seagram's Canadian Hunter, with colored pen and ink drawing, 80 proof, aged 3 years. That's what I think the current bottle says that, 80 proof, aged 3 years. Sazerac Co, Frankfort, Kentucky. Well, yeah, that's at the Buffalo Trace distillery. That's where it's bottled at Buffalo Trace. No, it doesn't have an age statement now, but it's probably still a minimum 3 years. I say probably, I don't know that. So I saw this bottle. It seems strange to me. I said Seagram's. Canadian whiskey, a blend, imported and bottled by White Rock Distilleries, Incorporated, Lewiston, Maine. So I'm reading about White Rock Distilleries. It was a Seagram's blending and bottling plant. They sold it off to, I think, Pernod Ricard, who acquired a lot of Seagram's assets. They still have the Seagram's London Dry and Distillers Reserve gin and all the flavored gins. And they lost interest in it or didn't want it, and they sold it off to Sazerac a few years ago. So Sazerac still has White Rock Distilling. I think they changed the name. I think it's just called Sazerac Bottling. Sazerac Distilling of Lewiston, Maine. I think that's the new name. But anyway, did some research on this. Canadian Hunter was introduced in 1984. During, I guess you call it the final act of Seagram's liquor company. Seagram's was the world's largest spirits company until they collapsed and went out of business in 2000, were sold off. Diageo bought a huge chunk of the company, and Pernod Ricard bought another big chunk. And some other people got their hands in it and bought things like Coca-Cola got a hold of Seagram's ginger ale, which they wanted. And then Sazerac has currently bought up some Seagram's products from Diageo. But in 1984, Seagram's, they did introduce some interesting products in their last act. This, which does have a strong following. In 1998, just 2 years before the end, they introduced Seagram's VO Gold. The VO Gold, the 8-year age Seagram's VO, which is still available. The company told me, Diageo told me this 3 years ago, it's been discontinued as of 2017. So maybe what we're getting now, and there's a lot of it, is backstock and the production is stopped. I don't know. All right, so You may not know this, but Seagram's introduced Eagle Rare in 1975. Eagle Rare was a Seagram's product. Seagram's introduced Benchmark bourbon, 1968, pretty sure. But Sazerac got a hold of that. Benchmark, Eagle Rare, and Seagram's Canadian Hunter in 1989. There was a big purchase in 89. Sazerac got a hold of a lot of their stuff 31 years ago at the time of this recording. So once they took it over, then you just saw it was called Canadian Hunter. You see old bottles, Canadian Hunter, new bottles, old. This, Seagram's Canadian Hunter. So I'm thinking this bottle is at least 31 years old. Has no website on it. It just says proof of purchase on the UPC area, which is sort of an older way of doing things. You know, you don't really see that anymore too much. So you can tell that the gold is oxidized, almost starting to turn green. So I bought it, $8.99. I'm curious to see what it's going to taste like. Is it going to be anything like the current Canadian Hunter? My theory or my hypothesis is that it will not taste the same. I think Sazerac changed it to put it in more in line with their Canadian blended whiskeys. My friend David said, don't drink it, it could be bad. I said, it's not going to go bad. I mean, I don't think it's going to go bad. I don't think whiskeys go bad. I had a 1977 bottle of Old Crow Bottle and Bond, 8-year age, no longer produced. I had a 1983 bottle of Wild Turkey 101, 8-year age, no longer 8-year age produced. So those were interesting. Didn't get sick, didn't taste bad. All right. Okay, so clear Glencairn glass. Thank you, John and Nilly. I got one left. I broke the other 3. And it didn't take much effort. They broke with almost inexplicable amounts of effort. They're so flimsy, in other words. Beautiful glasses, but they can't have any kind of impacts. All right, bright sunlight. It's gold. Gold. You see the Canadian Hunter, the modern one is more amber, which I'm thinking they're adding caramel coloring today. Do see some sediment in this bottle. Sazerac, I noticed with Sazerac whiskeys, they'll start to show sediment. I don't know why, just noticed that with many of their products. This one here, no, it's as clear as a bell. There's no sediment. I think it's going to be different. So it's very light. I don't think they added caramel coloring to it. Even though it's only aged 3 years, it might get that light. You know, it might get that light of a shade in a used bourbon barrel after 3 years. What bourbon barrel? I don't know. Maybe they were aging it in Eagle Rare or Benchmark in 84, 85, 86, 87, 88, 89. So if it came out in 84, they had to start aging in 81. Wouldn't have been too difficult to do. Okay, so here we go. This is the first video review for this product in the world. Talking about Seagram's Canadian Hunter. There are a number of video reviews for Canadian Hunter. It doesn't smell the same. Now the Canadian Hunter, you got to give it credit. It looks nice with that green cap, that forest green cap. I don't know. I have to pour it in a glass. I'm going to do a Dawn Busters taste challenge with these two. That's the plan, at least. Okay. Does kind of smell like what we get today, Canadian Hunter. And what do I mean by that? Well, I mean like candy corn. Pretty strong corn nose. Like that Interior Plains corn. And some rye, spicy rye. And I guess a little bit of malt whiskey, single malt whiskey, Canadian single malt whiskey. Little oak barrel. What about other flavorings like the rum, like a white rum? I think that is probably the case that they gave me. I think so Seagram's used to own Captain Morgan, right? And Captain Morgan had a white rum, a different one from, had a different name, but it might have been the same thing as the current Captain Morgan white. So maybe they were spiking it with a little Captain Morgan white rum or something like that. Maybe a little benchmark. Smells nice. I mean, some people take some people take great offense to Canadian whiskey, and they'll just, if you read, it's kind of entertaining to read their commentary because they just talk about it like it's an atrocity, but I think what they really mean is it's kind of bland to them, but they might go over the edge of describing it. Say it's horrendous when they might just mean it's kind of dull. I think it could be a misunderstanding of what Canadian whiskey's trying to do. I don't think it's a matter of being dull. I think Canadian whiskey, it's a matter of being demure. Demure and not dull. It smells really nice, but okay. Little almond note, or perhaps walnut, but I say almond. Let's go with the taste. Cheers. So sorry for the long video, but this is one I gotta really think about. And you can still buy it. They still have bottles and bottles of it over there. And if they got it, that means somebody else got it. It's very heavy corn, and that's a bourbon thing, right? Canadian whiskey is very similar to bourbon. You say, no, it's not, because they age it in used barrels. Okay, bourbon uses new barrels. What do they age it in? Usually used bourbon barrels. Oh, you say, well, bourbon's 51% corn at least. What do you think Canadian whiskey is mostly? It's a corn whiskey for the most part. You could make straight bourbon in Canada. You just couldn't call it bourbon. If you use brand new, unaged, you know what I'm saying, never before used charred white oak barrels. Doesn't have to be white oak, could be swamp oak, but they use white oak. And it was 51% corn, it would be bourbon, but you couldn't call it bourbon legally because it's made in Canada, even if you made it 100 feet across the border. All right, that's legal. That's legal. I was going to say a little tobacco, like I was going to say menthol, and then that would make me think menthol, spice, rye. I was going to also say it's kind of got a lot of VO qualities, like Seagram's VO. I think what they might have done in 1984 was take Seagram's VO, the 6-year aged, and they still say on the LCBO website today that it's a 6-year aged product. And maybe they just took some 3-year aged and bottled it. I don't know. I think it tastes very much like Seagram's VO, because Seagram's VO tastes very much like what I just described in the description part. These are only theories. They're not facts. I cannot in any way prove it, but just what my mind is thinking, you see. Is it smooth? Well, I mean, they're saying it's a sipping whiskey. I don't know how many people are buying Canadian Hunter for sipping purposes. I think over 95% are probably buying it for mixology purposes, cocktails, highballs, but I'm sipping it, aren't I not? Am I not? I'm sipping it, eh? It's smooth and has a rye middle to finish. There's no getting around that. What was... I'm thinking of other 3-year Canadian whiskeys like Black Velvet. This, in my mind, destroys Black Velvet. I have some left, too, for our taste challenge. That's a 3-year age. I think it kills Black Velvet. Black Velvet is bitey and harsh, and this is not. Some of the other 3-year age, like Canadian Leaf, that's a Sazerac bottled at in Baltimore, Majestic Distilling. I was going to say Monumental. It used to be that Majestic Distilling. They're all kind of like this. It's almost like Sazerac said. I think I'm getting to the solving it. I think I'm about to solve it. I don't know yet. I think Sazerac was hot to get this. In 1989, they said, let's buy it. And I think they took Canadian Hunter and they sort of like modeled everything that they make or bought according to its design. But you'd have to try them. You have to buy the Hunter now, the current Hunter. You'd have to buy Canadian Lake. Canadian Lake, that's at Total Wine, but it's the same as Canadian Leaf, the same label. It's bizarre. Caliber is another one. Now, not Royal Canadian. That's an old brand from 1934. It doesn't taste like these. That came before, so don't put that one in the mix. But all of those, there's so many. They go on and on. And then you'd get the VO, which Sazerac has owned now for 2 years. And it's like it went back around to where it started. I think this was modeled on VO. And then I think Sazerac modeled all their stuff on this. And now Sazerac has VO. So they got the complete picture. That makes sense. Okay. It is kind of nice to sip, though. A lot of corn, but it's sweet corn. There's nothing harsh about this. Nothing. No bitiness. No, repellent qualities. The body's medium and the finish is, it's really quick to moderate, right? Between a quick, which would mean very dry, and a dry finish and a moderate finish, which get a little more sweetness and lingering qualities. Well, okay. I think it's really good. It's really good. I'm so glad I bought it. I should go buy another bottle for $8.99. But no, I'm gonna leave it on the shelf because other people might watch the video and say, I gotta go buy some. And I'm sure they don't. They may have a few boxes of it. They're just putting a few on the shelf as they sell. So you might want to get the international market. Check it out. They have so many old bottles over there. It's incredible. I found old Ronrico rum bottles. They had to be 25 years old, 30. Old Beam. I could go on. It's so much. It's crazy. With liquor, that's fine. With beer, you wouldn't want it. Man, that's a nice almond. And sugar. Oh, I think I know now why Sazerac was hot to get this. Well. I'm going to score this a 94. This is an A all the way. Can you get good whiskey for less than $10? Obviously so. Quite obviously so. Most of the good whiskey for under $10 tends to come from Canada. You say, yeah, but they flavor it up to almost 10%, 9.9% with flavorings like rum, brandy, bourbon, and wine such as sherry and port. That could be true. It, in fact, in many cases or most cases, is true. I don't mind. It's good flavor. That's what counts. Does it taste good? Yes. Is it enjoyable? Yes. Am I going to drink more of it? Without any shadow of a doubt. So a 94 out of 100 sold at a store nowhere near most anybody on earth. And I'm going to end this review by saying, y'all come on down to southeastern Louisiana.